TF comes in with an interesting question about upgrading to a new CPU on an older motherboard.
And he would like to swap out a 2700X, 8 cores, 16 threads, with a Zen 3 5600X, 6 cores, 12 threads. And he has an Asus X470 Strix F motherboards.
Now, hold on just a second. Back that train up. We have to talk about something very important.
Beep, beep, beep.
Right. First of all, I have that motherboard. That is what my 2700X is installed on upstairs. I have 2 AMD test benches. An Asus ROG Strix X470-F is what I use for testing first and second generation Ryzen CPUs, because I cannot put some of the first generation Ryzen CPUs on the latest 500 series motherboards. So because of the fact that AM4 didn't truly end up being 4 years of any CPU, any board, I have to maintain 2 separate AMD test benches. There are several things we need to break down here. We will get to the what does it take to put Zen 3 on a 400 series board in a second. But that's not the important question here that needs to be addressed. Do not side grade your computer. Improving in one area and downgrading in another is a side grade. You're kind of going up, but you're kind of going down at the same time. It seems like an improvement. It might be an improvement, but it's also a deprovement. Is deprovement a word?
It is now.
It is a deprovement in other ways. Disclaimer and full disclosure to everyone. There are times and places to do this. There are special circumstances, limited use PCs. I've done it. I actually just replaced a 6-core Zen 2 chip, a Ryzen 5 3600, with an i3-10100 4-core chip.
You did.
But that's because that is a single task machine that video captures our game benchmarks, and I was having some fussiness with the AMD build. And we're also content creators. We make YouTube videos and we need to build a machine. I have the parts, it does the job. And so we went ahead and built a machine to replace that. But I'm not gaming on it. I'm not using it as my personal machine. I would never advise a normal user with a normal computer to ever make that kind of change. That is a terrible downgrade for most people. Even if it had been an older Ryzen 5, a Ryzen 5 2600, because an i3-10100 has faster cores than a Zen Plus chip.
Correct. But
you're going down to 4 of them. This is a terrible plan. In this gentleman's case, he wants to go from a Ryzen 7 2700X, 8-core, 16-thread Zen Plus, which does, by the way, run at 4.2, but clock speed isn't everything. It's, a 3700X is an 8-core, 16-thread Zen 2 chip that also runs at 4.2, but is noticeably faster than a 2700X.
Correct.
He wants to go to a Zen 3. A Ryzen 5 5600X will run at 4.6 gigahertz, stock out of the box.
Okay.
That is a decent upgrade in speed, and the Zen 3 cores are a definite upgrade over the Zen Plus cores. But there's fewer of them.
Correct.
He's going 2 steps up and 1 step down.
It gets better.
It does?
It does. He really only wants to use it for gaming. He saw a lot of benchmarks suggesting it had much better performance in gaming.
It does if you read charts for a living. A lot of games now use more than 6 cores. Not all, but if you're gaming in anything that a 2700X is not amazing in, to be sure, Overwatch, League of Legends, World of Tanks, Warframe, Titanfall 2, CSGO, GTA 5, any AAA game 2 to 3 years or older. Ghost Recon Wildlands, not Breakpoint. The Division 1, not the Division 2. Assassin's Creed Syndicate instead of, well, even Odyssey really doesn't use more than 4 or 6 cores. It'll use 6, but it doesn't need more. But Valhalla will use more, the new one.
Yes, it will.
If you're running stuff that doesn't need more than 6 cores, your 2700X already does that. What are you expecting to get? 200 frames per second? If you have a 200 frame per second monitor and a video card to do that, you're a super premium user who is not going to be happy with 6 cores. What you have seen are benchmark charts that are proof of concept on completely clean machines running nothing else, providing bar graphs. I can tell you from personal experience.
Well, the use case is benchmarking, not gaming.
Yeah, they look great, but it's really not. I upgraded my personal home machine, not my work machine. I know I'm a YouTuber, and I know a lot of people will say, well, yeah, but you do 4K videos for YouTube. Not at home, I don't. I don't do that at home. I do that at work. I have an 18-core machine here at work for that, and a 24-core Threadripper upstairs for our video editor. My personal gaming machine at home got upgraded from a 6-core 8700K to an 8-core 9900K. Those are identical cores. It's just more of them. The exact same per core performance, unless there's a clock speed difference, but they're the exact same cores. I am not an extreme super duper gamer. I have a 100 hertz monitor. I watch YouTube videos while I play games. That's it. Not complicated. There was a noticeable and dramatic improvement, not in frame rates, which is what you're seeing with the 5600X, but in computer smoothness, game launcher time, game level load time, update time, frame pacing. Not the 1% low, but the evenness of time between frames, which doesn't show up in a chart. Was it worth the upgrade? Yes.
No more complaining, so yeah, it was.
You heard the difference. I went from going, look at this choppiness, to it's smoother. And both machines were premium.
Yep.
Both machines had 32 gigs of RAM. Both machines had premium video cards. The only real difference was the CPU. So I understand what you're saying. I completely get it. Don't side grade your computer. And this applies to everybody wanting to take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. If you have a 2700X and you want a superior experience, that's not a crime. Zen 3 is faster. Your frame rates will be faster. Updates will be faster. The overall system's latency will be better. If you have a premium video card, if you have an RX 6800 XT, awesome. If you have an RTX 3080, awesome. And you want that amazing experience, I am on board. You want a Ryzen 9 5900X. The $250 more that a Ryzen 9 5900X costs over a Ryzen 5 5600X buys you a couple of things. It buys you double the on-chip cache. It is 70 megabytes versus 35. That makes a difference, especially if you're multitasking. It also will make a difference as game textures get bigger and bigger. I just bought with the winter sale Call of Duty Cold War, the latest Call of Duty.
Yep.
There is an optional high-resolution texture pack if you want really crisp textures in a really beautiful game. It is a 56 gigabyte download for a texture pack. More cores, larger on-chip cache, more frame pacing and smoothness, longevity of your computer. You're buying the top-end chip, unless you get a 5950X, but that doesn't make sense for gaming. And that's another $250. You're getting the best reasonable CPU on the AM4 platform that will let you skip the first 2-ish years of AM5 when DDR5 RAM is expensive and all the new stuff on the platform is being worked out, and you will have many years of great gaming out of your PC. Saving that $250 now, you'll just spend that $250 sooner rather than later. It is a horrifically short-termed, foolish decision in my mind. Anyone with a 2700X who wants that awesome Zen 3, it is awesome. Zen 3 is amazing. AMD in some games now beats Intel. Absolutely, there's no question. 12-core Zen 3 chip is superior to the i9 10850K, except in price, because it is more money.
It's true.
But it's faster with more cores. The 5600X is stupid. If you wanted 6 cores, you should have been on them a long time ago. And if you want a premium Zen 3 experience, you don't want 6 cores.
Nope.
Because 6 cores are available for half that price. So you're either a value-oriented, budget-conscious gamer, in which case Ryzen 3 3600 or i5 10400, 4 gigahertz, 6 cores, 12 threads for $150. Or you're a premium gamer who goes straight to the top. What you're doing is you're spending twice the money for marginal gains. It's just dumb.
He's saying, so what you're saying is I should sell and get a 5800X?
The 5800X is garbage.
No.
The only Zen 3 chip worth buying is the 5900X. It's a Ryzen 9 or don't waste your time. I have all of them. I have a 5800X. I have a 5600X. I've benchmarked them. They're silly. Either buy a Ryzen 9 or buy an Intel or buy the previous generation Zen 2 at a discount. It just doesn't make any sense. We're in 2021. Now, if the 5800X were $350 instead of $450, I would feel differently. I would like the 50. If there was a 5700X for $350, we'd have a different conversation. But at $450, it's stupid.
It is silly.
Keep in mind that within a year of today, Intel will have 16 cores on the consumer desktop and AMD will have 20.
And you're going with 6?
You're going with 6? Yeah, it's just a waste of time. Now, really quickly, to answer his question, he has a 400 series motherboard. There are beta BIOSes to put Zen 3 on it. You would need to update your BIOS first and then drop in your CPU if you wanted to do this. Honestly, I would replace the motherboard. I like that motherboard. I am not putting a Zen 3 chip on that board. The problem is you often can't go backwards in the BIOSes and you lose earlier CPU support. Now, it varies on boards. For all of you watching, some boards lose more CPU support than others, but there isn't enough flash memory available in the BIOS on the early 300 and 400 series boards to support every AMD chip made because they each have their own microcode. And so you start to lose chip support, and once you upgrade, you can't downgrade.
Well, and the other thing is that is a working system.
Yeah. I would actually consider building a new system and keeping that as it is. A 2700X on an X470 ROG Strix board, that is a great system. That is balanced. That is an awesome motherboard. It is a great CPU. Why would you tear it apart? Especially when it's a one-way trip. Usually. I haven't actually checked that board, but I know that some of the B450s are a one-way trip. Once you upgrade for Zen 3, you can't go back. And
so double check that.
Here's the danger. Some of them, not all, when you update the BIOS, you have to update the BIOS with the 2700X on it. It will no longer boot to the 2700X. You have to take the 2700X off and put the Zen 3 chip on.
Correct.
And it will no longer boot to the old Zen Plus chips.
Nope.
And so if it doesn't work or you have a problem with your new chip, you've got a useless board. Run away from that bad idea.
Yeah, don't do that.